Dr. Venu Madhavi, Associate Professor, English and Foreign Language University. Dr. Divya John, Associate Professor, SSM College of Engineering, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Dr. Anup Nair, Associate Professor, Bishop Moore College, Mavelikara, Alapura, Kerala. Professor Bal Chandra Loital, Professor and Dean, Kathmandu University, School of Education, Nepal. Dr. Man Bahadur Jorbang, Assistant Professor, Kailal Multiple Campus, Far Western University, Nepal. And we have Dr. Kiran M., Associate Professor, Christ University, Bangalore. Thank you all for joining us on stage. Allow me to introduce the session moderator, Dr. Francis. Reverend Dr. Francis M. Peter formerly served as the Professor of Managerial Communication with XLRI School of Business, Jamshedpur, India. He has also taught English and guided research in various reputed institutions and has conducted a minor project on self-access learning. He has also served as a corporate trainer and adjunct faculty member at business schools and has held senior administrative positions. Having also worked as a trainer and examiner for public service examinations, he prepared staff selection exams for the government of Jharkhand and assisted Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Nepal, and Kuwait in improving teacher competence. I now invite Reverend Dr. Francis and the discussants to commence with the panel discussion.
Thank you very much, and for the lovely introduction. We have today a tricky prospect, a panel discussion on back to the basics. I was just wondering if somebody were to go to an antique shop and ask the proprietor there, what is new? He with a chuckle would say, everything. Because here, the new is the old. Old is the new. And that is what we are trying to say. Basically, we are trying to say, well, whatever may come, whatever may go, let's not give aside or throw aside the baby with the bath water. Technology may come, AI may be there, but teacher is the crux, is the most essential one. So we need the teacher, or do we? As of now, we do. Will AI replace teachers or supplement teachers? The answer basically is that if you are a teacher who does things in routine, the same things day after day, in all likelihood you would be replaced. But if you are a creative teacher, there is so much to be done and so much that AI can augment our teaching. So it is both a boon and a bane. So now, what do you have in the traditional system of learning? Basically, it is the personal connect, what we call the teacher immediacy. And that is something that we need to we cannot replace with technology. Technology cannot replace the personal warmth and touch. A twitch of the lips, a smile, a twinkle of the teacher which says, come on, you can. Yes, you can. That is only a human way and making people speak. And that is the most important thing with it. I'd like to use another little phrase. A teacher, coach, and a technology instrument can be a coach, but a referee. We know the difference between a coach and a referee. Coach is one who helps the student or the player to become a better version of himself, points out mistakes so that it can be corrected, and say why this happens and what they have to do. A referee is one who has got a whistle in his mouth and his only job is to blow and say out, yellow card, red card, that's all. So the question is, do you want to be a coach or a referee? Or to use another set of metaphors, is it a lawyer or a judge? Technology can become more of a judge, and teachers, living teachers, are more in the line of lawyers who will help people. And they can bring in a lot of humor. We can liven up the classroom with a live teacher. We don't need a PowerPoint to bring power to the class or to make the class pointed. We don't need PowerPoint. We need a pointed teacher with a pointed mind, and who can size up the situation of the class and simply ask one question or other. For example, simply say, if the class is a little sagging, today is a grammar class. I'd like to ask you, now tell me which is correct. 3 and 3 are 4, or 3 and 3 is 4? Grammatically, which is correct? You ask a question like this, they'll all be wondering why. And then you say, neither. 3 and 3 are 6. And then you start a class. This only a live teacher who can pick up the feelings and feel the pulse of the class can do this. We want teacher who has got what we call the teacher immediacy. There is no medium between the teacher and the students. The learning and the teaching would be immediate. So the teacher immediacy is what we have here in the class. Second one is about the social interactions. Learning is done by working together, by complementing what one understands and what doesn't understand. And so it must be together, which cannot be taken for granted in a technology-driven classroom. We need a teacher who cares, who guides, who prods. There are 3 strands which causes learning. One is the affective strand. We need the students to like what they learn, like the lesson, like the teacher, like the method that is being taught. And then they will learn. That is the affective stand in a very brief way. Second one is the cognitive one. Problem must be solved by the students and not given by the machine. It is in the process of finding the answer that we learn. Making it easy, or what is called easifying learning, will not work. It is like trying to set free a butterfly from the cocoon as it comes out. It will come out without pain, but you will never be able to fly. It is in the process of meaning making. It is in the process of what is called stretching without stressing that we make them learn. That only a teacher in a classroom can do. We also have the collaborative way of learning and any much more, but I won't like to take the wind out of the sail of the great men here. And I am also in a tearing hurry, like Cinderella. At the stroke of 11:30, I have to disappear. I may leave back a shoe or something, I don't know, but then I have to disappear. Therefore, I would like to ask the panel to now take up on any point that they would like to talk about and comment. And kindly keep it brief and let us have an interactive session. You would like to?
Hello, good morning. Yeah, it is working. So, Sir has put the entire scenario in the right words, and the entire picture is clear to all of us. I'll begin the discussion with, an example. After we restarted with the classes, after COVID, we began with the classes again. And I think in initial classes, I asked the students, what did you miss? So first of all, did you miss anything, about the live classrooms or in-person classrooms? Because they were completely on the online classes. So I was expecting that, they will say that we had a nice time and all those things. So they said, we were missing our regular classes. So I asked them, what did you miss the most? So they told me very clearly that we missed the live interactions. So live interactions with the teachers, and not only the teachers, sometimes we learn from peers too. So the learning doesn't take place only through the teacher. They learn, abundantly from each other's learnings, their behaviors. So I think this is an apt example to begin the discussion where we can have a technology-free, we can imagine a technology-free classroom completely. So I think we can move ahead with it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. That's brief and nice. Yeah, please. Would you like to go ahead?
Yeah. And so I'm extremely delighted to be here to be part of this panel. The focus of my talk is going to be awakening the human mind to revive the English classroom. Okay? I think we have witnessed an extraordinary shift in the way we teach and learn. Our classrooms are filled with laptops, with projectors, as Father said, with PPTs, and now with AI. So there's a question that arises in our mind, like, are we awakening the human mind, or are we just managing the classroom? So I think as language educators, we have to bring back what truly matters, the human mind and the human connection. I'm part of a technological institute, and I've been, all my early part of my research was integrating technology into the classroom. So I'm quite well aware of the problems of technology. It's brought in a lot of passive learning. There are a lot of distractions in the classroom. And I'll just tell you a simple example of a group discussion topic that I gave. The students just generated the whole discussion from generative AI. And they were looking in, and during the time, I think they thought that they could speak during that particular discussion. But when the discussion really happened, they could not recollect what they had read. So they were just looking down on the screen, and there was a miserable discussion that was going on over there. Okay. So this brought in a lot of superficial engagement, a lot of over-dependence on AI. So when we ask our students to speak and write, okay, they freeze. It's not because they have lack of ideas. What I feel is that they have actually grown used to outsourcing their thought process. So I think as language teachers, what we have to do is bring back what language learning was all about. Interaction, reflection, and an expression. Okay. So I would like to suggest two low-tech activities that we can use in the classroom. One is, I would call that thinking together, age-old group discussion. So I remember giving a topic to the students, and I told them that during the discussion time, they're not supposed to use their mobile phones, okay? So they could make notes. So just with the help of making notes, they prepared during the discussion. I said that each claim should be supported by an evidence. So I had a really lively discussion where I asked them to speak for 12 minutes. They spoke for 25 minutes. It was just making use of notes, okay? I remember another discussion where I had my students speak on are we happier than our forefathers? Okay, so there was no mobile phones, no notes. It was just students, ideas, and dialogue. They were actually interacting with each other, listening actively, and thinking critically. They were not repeating what they just read. It was actual connection going on in the classroom. Okay. The other activity that I would like to talk about is on free writing, which is which I would call it thinking on paper. Like if you've not heard about free writing, it's simply asking the students to write whatever they think of. They can forget about grammar, spelling, and everything. Okay, right? So basically, in the beginning, they struggle to speak, they struggle to write, but slowly the thinking returns. They start writing, and it's difficult for them to stop. Like they're connected with their inner mind. And during this free writing process, what happens is that they actually discover their own voice. Okay. So my aim over here is not to reject technology. It has its purpose and its place. Okay. Right? I think we should.
Shall we listen to somebody from over here, please?
Hello. Yes, it's working. Reverend Dr. Francis Peter, the moderator of this panel, fellow panelists, and the seekers of truth. When I speak about teaching without technology, I'm not primarily calling for nostalgia. It is calling for clarity. Clarity as to what happens to wisdom when knowledge becomes mechanical. T.S. Eliot, I remember, had once said, "Where is the wisdom that we have lost in knowledge?" And today, when knowledge is, should I use the word more frigid these days, as Divya ma'am said, are we as a civilization losing the art of reflection, listening, reflecting, and understanding? That is a moot point. And again, while the depth of understanding seems to be a casualty, what I believe that equity too is a problem. A Google search told me that I'm using tech for that. So a Google search told me that in 2025, global edtech companies global edtech spent more than $400 billion US. UNESCO's report says that 244 million children worldwide remained outside. While you have edtech spending more than $400 billion US, UNESCO says that 244 million children worldwide remain outside school. UNICEF says that 1 in 3 children worldwide lacks reliable internet. And we all know what the pandemic did. When the screens replaced schools, we found that the poorest of the poor were the ones who were the most bereft of knowledge, of education. So a chalk board, I believe, still can transform villages. Therefore, what I'm saying, what I'm advocating is not no tech. What I'm advocating is low tech, so that teaching could become even more radically democratic. That is the first point.
That's a lovely thing. It said not no tech, but low tech is the answer. Now let us hear what you have to say, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Father Dr. Peter. I just want to look into the philosophical side, philosophical foundations of going back to basics. So what does this mean? So this means returning to foundational practices like oral dialogue, reading, writing, and embodied learning, because embodied learning is very, very important for us. It's not just doing mechanical work, but bringing back the learning into body, the somatic dimension of learning. So that would prioritize connection over digital mediation. So similarly, the second question in this case would be, is teaching without technology regressive or restorative? Because many people would fancy that technology would do everything. It does not. We need restorative practice, as we saw the superficiality in learning as well, many research suggest in recent years. It reclaims attention. If we use this restorative practice, then it would be helpful for us to reclaim attention, presence, and relational depth, often lost in tech-saturated classroom. So that's what the moderator spoke in his opening remarks. So then we look at wisdom traditions, and particularly this part of the world. Also in many parts of the world, are rich in oral tradition, orality, what we call. For example, in Africa, there is a living library. People sing song and go around the places. For example, I come from Nepal. Until some years back, there were Gandharvas who would go, several villages and sing song. This orality is very, very important, reservoir or the corpus of our knowledge systems. Similarly, and then the very important part, when we have tech-saturated classroom, I also use, I teach in virtual context, and I also have experienced that this radical listening is missing, actually, which is very, very important. It's not, noise in the classroom. Silence is also very, very important. So silence fosters reflection, deep listening, and inner integration. And these are essential for contemplative and ethical learning.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Bab, would you like to?
Good morning, everybody. I totally agree with the father and the other panel members. But when I looked at the theme, going back to the basics, the other part of the phrase, I was wondering, probably it is paradoxical. Can we think a classroom without the technology these days? I know that we have been researching much about intellectual property rights. We're talking about ethical issues, standards, moral values, and grabbing somebody's ideas and all that. But if we look at the research, our learners, our students, more than 7 lakh students per year, they migrate to different countries. We are talking about globalization when we quote SDG goals, especially when it talks about equity, inclusive education, and when we talk about globalization, going back to basics is fine. Yeah, I never said that a teacher cannot be replaced, but without technology, class, how can we think about a classroom? Especially now we talk about Gen Z. Can we take them back? Yesterday during the presentation, I was listening to one of the paper presenters who got in this Panchatantra stories. Panchatantra, yes, it is a part of our culture. And to make the learner understand the importance of such stories, the teacher who is teaching a tribal student is bringing in AI, converting the stories into animations so that there is a multimodal appeal and which could bring in more inclusiveness, more engagement. So technology is important. And I think we need to dive deep into the prospects, the changes and the challenges, and try to work on the policies, try to work on the guidelines where all the stakeholders should come together and rework on how to build in a bridge between a traditional approach and a contemporary approach.
Thank you. You're saying that we should make friends with technology, not discard it, not baby with the bathwater. Let us please listen to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Peter, then all panelists and ELTAI committee, and after all, okay, audiences here. In the present time, we teacher, first of all, why we ask question to students, we become ourselves, first of all, whatever answer, what will be there, we check our whole thing first of all, okay, to this case of AI. That's why AI is integral part of teaching learning, but we can make its critical point of view, its use. So that's why I try to make this sort of thing when I try to make sure that this participant of this panel discussion, I try to make 4 points reflection hereby. The first one is first of all is engagement, then after collaboration, then after we get reflection and feedback. So that's why we can tell ECRF. This way we can make our class. Yeah, to my case, I'm taking 3 classes to online. 1 professional B.Ed, I'm taking class. So online, then master level class I'm taking. Then some classes of this PhD in MPhil, I'm making just this expert of this, some courses of, but in the case we can make, it's critical how this happens. We can modify class types, we can modify lesson. Last time I was the one roster in the examination board of my university. So how can we make question creative? How can we make question refer to students? Then we set one trend that must be like the double questions like that. We should avoid them. So we can make question from this critical aspect, compare and contrast, evaluate, like that we can make this sort of thing. So in the present time, we cannot avoid this AI and this technology, but we have to implement them very critically, apply students level, then we should check how they are. This is the case.
Thank you. We have now had one round. Everybody has got, but there must be something pressing in the mind of our participants. We would like to hear that also. And then we want the audience to shoot their questions or their comments. I want this to be done in a brief way. Just to summarize whatever I heard from this distinguished panel is that, one, let us remember, teaching is not downloaded, it is discovered. And therefore, it must have the teacher immediacy to do that. And that is the most important thing she said. And then the other one is that there may be constraints, but it is constraints that breed creativity. A teacher can become a good storyteller, an actor, a dramatist in the classroom. And that is possible only when there is not dependence on technology. And the other one we heard was that technology is a tool, use it insofar as it helps. When it becomes a crutch, it will not help the students to walk. Don't make it a crutch that students depend on. And lastly, what I heard was that stay grounded. Focus on what works, what has been working, and know what will work, not just on what is trending. These are some of the things that I have got, and also some statistics saying that, remember, there is a huge lot of people outside the school and many more equally big number who have no access to internet or technology. Keep them in mind. The world includes them. Let us have an inclusive vision. These were some of the points that were said. If anybody wants to add something, please, and make it brief.
When I received the topic for the first time, I was reminded of the nursery rhyme, possibly the one that I learned for Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, How I Wonder What You Are. I believe the word wonder is the most seminal to education. It is something that, education should lead to wonder. Aurobindo had once said that true education is what leads us from the mind to the spirit. And as Father just now said, spirit is not uploaded or downloaded, it has to be awakened. Does technological education help us do that? Father also said just now, it should go from why to how is a question that we should be asking. Father just said, was talking about teacher immediacy. I remember the name of the philosopher who talked about the tyranny of immediacy that technology is leading us to. Everything is instantaneous. It has to be instant gratification, instant everything. So learning, we should understand, is not an event. It is an evolution. It ripens, True education ripens the way that a fruit does, gradually, slowly, in the open air, in the still air. That's the way it should be. It's not something that has to, that should not be a subject to the tyranny of immediacy. That's one thing. And there was an MIT study that I remember, we're saying that the present attention span of a student is just 47 seconds before he moves online to a different thing. 47 seconds. I don't know if I too, when you go to check your email, then again something pops up in the WhatsApp. Even me, I don't know whether even my attention span sustains for 47 seconds. So again, technology, does it help knowledge ripen the way that the fruit does, is a question that I would like to ask. And then what is said by the father in the beginning, and in all traditions, be it Socrates, be it Buddhist, be it Confucian, the teacher was never merely a transmitter of knowledge, but he was a presence that shared a perception. And he or she is an emotion that stirs the consciousness of the reader. As Iqbal said, दिल से जो बात निकलती है, असर रखती है. That which comes from the heart of the teacher, that which spiritually connects very deeply, connects with the soul, which the bland technological screens, I don't know whether such a connection is possible, such an awakening is possible. Presence communicates a belief, which, as was said in the beginning, PowerPoints can never do that. Education, again, is not just about noise. It is about silences too. It is like what the Upanishad said, that the teacher's stillness in the class became the student's realization. And, silence should, I think I'll stop. Silence should, my point is that silence should let ideas sink, like ink sinks in the water. It should be gradual, slowly, and something
Can I
that
add
is
one
deep.
point here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree with what Sir said. Looking at the research by one of the papers, there is 1.49 trillion kind of industry that is making with the use of AI right now. And then in another 10 years, it would be 2.95 trillion. So there is a lot of impact of AI. So yeah, when the question comes about the integrity, academic integrity, then maybe we can look at Mike's SIFT model, where he proposes that we should actually look into this SIFT means stop, investigate the source, find better coverage, and trace claims. This means that whatever that the student is now trying to download, such kind of behavior that happens in the classroom should be addressed by the teacher, where when it comes to especially the writing skills, you were talking about evidences, supporting claims and all that. So ChatGPT has actually brought in some kind of revolution. And yes, we do agree with the kind of writing strategies that they adopt. But then, yes, the evaluation mechanism, the assessment patterns, and the total kind of technological infrastructure that should be changed, should be investigated, should be taken forward by all the stakeholders.
Thank you, Dr. Basu.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
So thank you, Father. Just to one, I have 5 questions, so I'll be brief. For example, if we look at non-tech teaching improve attention span or not, this is a question. There are few studies suggest that show, because this 47-second has been not just to kids, it's also adults. It's also it has also been experienced among adults. So it appears that it reduces distractions and trains sustained focus through embodied and relational learning, because relationality is very important in learning. As Kieran Egan suggests that if we are to imagine something, then we need to have relation with material, with people around. But with his screens, this is this is highly premediated, and you cannot find alternatives as well. Similarly, how does it affect emotional intelligence? Because this part is also very, very important in the last 15 years of research of emotional intelligence. And it actually, with low-tech, I would say, with low-tech, minimum technology used in the classroom, even chalk and duster are also part of technology, but they can be considered as low-tech. So in that context, what research suggests that with low-tech, emotional study by Look and others suggests that empathy, listening, and interpersonal sensitivity has been significantly, improved in low-tech classroom. So we also tend to think that many pro-tech people tend to think that, or proponent of technology think that, for imagination and mental imagery, pre-made visuals. These are very important. Actually, they impose the imagination.
Thank you.
They redesign imagination.
Yeah.
I think if we need a fresh imagination of students, I think we need to keep technology minimum. Role of play. I think play becomes medium for exploration. A study in South Africa suggests that, replacing technology from grade 5 and having play-based pedagogy would have much more, impact on students' retention and emotional well-being. So similarly, the next case is neurodiversity. For example, students with different neurological conditions, online learning is less effective, and more, presence of teacher and presence of person with, therapeutic responsibility would much better of those students as well. So these multisensory methods are very useful, and they can be done, they should be done, and cannot be done with technology as such. They should be done with person in the...
Absolutely.
Yes,
There must
thank
be
you.
something about human touch which will enhance the people. I just want to break this monotony and ask, is there anybody from the audience who would like to shoot one question to any of the panelists? Yes, please. Can somebody give them a mic? Or can you please come up? Pick up the mic from here. The mic for them. And one more, please, can you please come over? Yeah.
Good
Tell
morning.
whom are you addressing, if there is any specific person you address?
Yeah, good morning. I'm Dr. Ashikar from VIT Chennai. My question to all the panelists, do we have a courage to say to the student that attendance is not mandatory, will they come to our class? Then the back to basics will work. Otherwise, when the attendance is mandatory, and you say that the moment you say attendance is not mandatory, then you in case you get more number of students, then going back to the basics will work. Otherwise, definitely it won't.
To answer to your question is, I teach a general, along with literature students, I teach general English BCom students, say for instance, it's a class full of around 90 odd students are there. And I tell them right in the beginning that those who are interested, only those who are interested need to sit in my class. Others can walk out. Around 70% of the students stay back. And I give attendance to the 30 because, ensure that they're in the library or in the canteen or wherever they want to be. So it works, and it depends upon the way you transact your classes, and I do that. Answer to the...
Thank you. What you're saying is that the acid test of the success of a teacher-fronted class is the lack of attendance, free attendance. Thank you. I thought this was a
Thank
good
you.
answer.
Thank you very
Please
much.
take out. Take out.
In face-to-face, I teach both face-to-face. In face-to-face class, I keep technology minimum. I don't use even PowerPoint. I use group discussion, problem solving, cases, problem solving of cases, and so on and so forth. Even I allow students to go to the field, bring the cases, and present in poster, not in PowerPoint.
Yeah.
We encourage for that. Of course, they may use, PowerPoint, but posters and flip charts, and these are encouraged. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
My question is to all the panelists. Will technology really helpful to the particular vulnerable tribal groups or primitive tribal groups, wherever the context may be, in India or Nepal, wherever the rest of the world? Will really technology is helpful to the primitive tribal groups or particular vulnerable tribal groups?
And yeah, please.
Thank you for the question, and I'm representing the entire panel here, taking the opportunity to respond. I think technology in any form, we are calling it AI today, but even a chalk and duster is technology. So something that is, it looks like an equipment or a device, it is a technology. It is, saving you times and efforts. Definitely, it won't, be replaced completely. But what I suggest in, the academic setting, that is a formal academic setting, because there is self-learning, there is informal learning also when we talk about education. So when we are talking about the formal academic setting, we should be using it in a, fine balance, like 70-30 or 80-20 or 90-10%. The way it, it is a choice, and also on the basis of the lot that you have in the class. So it should be used judiciously. Removing technology, it won't be possible for a human mind because we are basically inquisitive, curious by nature, and we'll be, developing one thing or other every, other time. So I think this is, yeah.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Any other question? Yeah, please come out. Pick up the mic and speak. Come out. Come out, please.
Thank you
Come
so
down,
much.
come
Madam.
down.
Thank you so much for your answer of the previous questions. Sir, I'm not going to ask you questions, but my comments are there. I'm Dr. Ingray. I worked in Nizampur, small town of Dhuri district, Maharashtra. When we started our admission process, then I come to know that in my college, there are some tribal students and even they don't have their email IDs. And we face a lot of problems to getting them enrolled for the admission. Again, whenever I collect their WhatsApp number and I contact them for the class, then their daughters, means the girls' number, mobiles, having their parents' mobiles. So I'm in dilemma that whether should we cope up with the technology or whether should we go with the traditional, as our panel discussed. They have given the feedback that class without technology. Then, as madam you told, that there must be some coordination, there must be some justification that we should sometime go with chalk and duster, and sometime we should go with technology and laptops and whatever the Zoom classes are there. So ma'am, I did these practices in my college and I'm very happy.
Thank you. Thank you very
yes,
much.
Sir. Thank you
please
so much.
pass it on to the next person behind you. Thanks for the observation.
I am just curious to understand, if we go to the basics, will it affect the employability of these children, these students? Because the world is moving ahead and we are trying to turn to the basics. So isn't it debatable?
Going to the basics, see, we're talking about teaching, learning, activity. Going to the basics doesn't mean that the students shouldn't be introduced to technology. They should be. I'm talking the point that I and I suppose a couple of other people were trying to make is that you have to awaken the consciousness of the student. You have to lead them to the thirst of knowledge. And that doesn't come from technological screens alone. That comes from the presence of the teacher, the spirit of the teacher, the light that the teacher transmits in the student. So once that light is had...
I agree. But
Yeah.
again,
No,
if it's the students who are imitating, you are role modeling them. So when you are taking them to the basics, when you are, modeling them, they
see,
may...
I'm not talking about I carry my laptops with me. I carry my mobile phones with me. I have my Google Classroom, then I make them do that. So that tech has to be used. But then when you're teaching them, the teaching has to be a one-to-one business where the presence of the teacher matters.
And
Where the Socratic method is not dead.
I find this not very happening. It is not
That
happening.
is
It
what we
may
have
not
ensured. It should happen. That's precisely the point that you're making. It has to happen in the classroom, where there has to be a fine blending of tech along with the presence of the teacher.
Thank you.
Like
Thank
what happened in the
Thank you.
Upanishadic times should be combined with what the tech 2025 offers.
Thank you.
That's the point.
Thank you. That was nicely said. Well, let us focus on what works. Thank you. That will be the last question from the participant, please. Keep it short.
Not question, sir. Just I want to share one thing. Because here, I'm a secondary school education teacher. I'm working in the dealing with the 6th to 10th standard students. Here, education, this technology, these two are inseparable. Here in the school level also, for participating in any competitions in statewide or nationwide, we need to give such details like email ID or some other things. And students also following different platforms of social media. And they are very active and they are eager to learn many things. And even in government of Andhra Pradesh, they have provided IRP panels for almost all the classes in the school. So we are using effectively that IRP panels. Instead of writing on the blackboard with chalk, we are using IRP panel. With the help of that technology, we are making the students learn effectively in the classroom. That is going on well. That's what I wanted to share to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
can I
Well,
add
that
one?
brings the curtains on the little discussion we had. I know our panelists are experts and they have so much to say. But one thing they have all stood firm in affirming, the teacher is not dispensable. Technology may come, technology may go, but a teacher who uses the technology will have an advantage, a leg up over those who don't. But a teacher cannot be dispensed with. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, every one of you, for your lovely little things, and bye.
Thank you, Dr. Francis, and to all our discussants for what has been an engaging and thought-provoking session on how we can make our English classrooms effective spaces for our students. On behalf of the organizing committee of this conference, please accept these tokens of appreciation given in gratitude for your presence here today. I invite Dr. Bhavani S., Dean, School of Humanities and Performing Arts, to hand over the memento to our session moderator, Reverend Dr. Francis. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. Mithilesh Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of English and Cultural Studies, Christ University, Bangalore, to hand over the mementos to our discussants. Thank you, sir. With that, we have come to the close of the sessions in this venue. Once again, I thank our moderator and all our discussants. Thank you for joining us. You may take your seats now. We will shortly begin with our program of parallel workshops happening in Block 4 across various venues. You will find the venue and other details on page number 8 and 9 of your schedule booklet. I invite you all to attend any of these workshops based on your interest. Once again, thank you all.